It's gonna be a good
Happy Sunday.
happy Sunday.
Good afternoon.
Peter, you're in the air, man. 2,000 feet in the air.
Nah, not me, man. I was talking about J-Rock.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so let's just go ahead and hop right into things. It's 2 p.m. and I know everybody got things to do, man. So let's just hop right into it. Looking forward to today. And one sec. Well, I'm pretty sure it'll, yeah, there it is. Okay, I'm like wondering where the alert is. All right, cool. So let's just hop right into things. And by watching or reading this, you're saying you understand the following. I'm not a financial advisor, and this is not trading advice. This session is solely for educational purposes. There are significant financial risks associated with options trading, and I'm not liable for your wins or losses in the market if you decide to act on this information. Let's go into things. So look, just right off the bat, the top call options flow on Friday went into MSTR. So they're still running that up, and they added a lot more Bitcoin to their balance sheet. So, but then the second top call options flow went to DocuSign. Shout out to DocuSign, man. We crushed that on Friday. And if you were in the chat, I mean, it was a lot of time to trade that after the open too on Friday. It was a pretty big move. Oracle, you got there, you got Meta there, you got AppLovin, Palantir. On the put side, the top put options flow went into Tesla, Apple, Nvidia, AMD, and TLT, which is an ETF that tracks the bond market. That's Peter's stock. I haven't seen it in a TLT chart in a while, Peter. No pressure, but on the for the week, the top call options flow went into IBIT, CHAU, Amazon, Palantir, Nvidia, and Meta. On the put side, they're shorting MSTR, MSCI, AMD, DHR, and Coin. Okay, cool. So that's how it was for the whole week. So let me go and see what the sector looked like, the sector heat map here. So look, it was a big move in Microsoft, a really big move in Amazon on Friday. Obviously, Meta, you had Tesla up 12% on Friday. So the whole comms sector and just big tech ran too. Walmart was up, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's still at another all-time high. Costco looked like that was up too. And we had a lot of stocks being shorted too on Friday. So healthcare was getting killed. Now you know what happened with UNH CEO. He got killed coming out of well, that was a yeah, I guess you can call that an assassination or whatever. They still haven't caught the guy yet, and the stock is under pressure right now. But the entire sector isn't down. You got Eli Lilly, you got Merck on the move still, and but it's a lot of pressure in that sector. So it's some opportunity there. I'm actually gonna let me put UNH on this list. I don't got any financial stocks on here, so I'm just gonna throw Goldman Sachs on here just to round out my list. And yeah, but yeah, so we got a lot of movement on these, and this is for the week. This is the performance for the entire week. So even if some of these stocks were red on Friday, this the entire week. No, shout out to Synopsys too, man. That was a really big trade. I see another stock I need to add to this list. 1 second. Just a second. Just 1 second. Back go. So now go ahead and move on. So yeah, look, I didn't get a chance to really finish doing this because I was gonna just I'm gonna bring the channel up and just show y'all the what how the team did this week because I it was just too many. I felt like everybody had a lot of people had a great week and so I could just do it that way. But I started doing it. But these was like two really good trades, whatever. Uh, Daquan with the Lulu trade. turning the 384 into 1700, and Jason with the synopsis. We just gave this a shout out. $280 turned into to almost like $1,500 on that trade. Um, now, so look, so hold on, let me go to this chart real quick. So I think I have a slide for this. I was working on a slide. I never finished the slide. I never finished the slide. But let me just go to the channel, just show y'all something really quickly. Hold on, because why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? Because it'll kind of add context. Because I made a comment about an open book test on Friday, and let me just go into the chat for a sec. And yeah, just had that up on the screen. I had the before and after. As a matter of fact, one sec, one sec. I actually have it already here. I don't need to do that. Just there. So yeah, man. We so on Friday, it was just a few things happened, but Tesla, yeah, we're one of the only stocks that hadn't really made a big move yet on Friday, but it had a nice setup on the chart. So I posted initial charts. There were other charts that I posted. I'm not gonna, they're in the chat, but basically I was just letting the team know, like if it took out 378, it was out of here. You know what I mean? And no matter how many dollars it had already moved for the week. Now, this was the setup on the daily chart at that time, when I posted that the when I was saying that, and this was how Tesla closed. When it broke out of that bull flag, it took off. And so this is what they were referring to right here on Friday. And they understood the assignment, and it made some quick money. So, and I know KK, she was in Tesla. I feel like, I think I swung some Tesla cars. And it's so crazy because look, we, KK, she texted my phone when I posted this chart in the chat, right? Before everything took off. And she said, I guess we're swinging 390 calls for next week. That's what she said. I ignored her text, right? And because it's an open book test. Don't fish for no information for me, right? She already knew what to do though. And what I did, I had a 390 call for next week's expiry. I took my profit at the end of the day and grabbed a 400 call. And then after the market closed, Tesla ran up to 395. It closed at 389.49, but it ran up to 395, and it finished in the after hours at 395. So we'll see what the Asian futures market has in store for tonight, and go from there. But Tesla, we're gonna get to the chart in a second. That's a pretty big setup on it. But yeah, since we're going over just profits, I just want to just show the profits channel for a second because the team did pretty good. And before I go into our profits for the week, just as a team, I just want to show you what the team did on their own, right? So it's like I thought this was better than just trying to extract a few people because there was too many good ones, man. Y'all did really good last week or this past week. These were just some plays in here, just like that people posted in the chat. And oh yeah, I wanted to give him a shout out too. Shout out to I am Weaver, man, because he understood the assignment with that meta play. So what happened was, right, I put the team in a meta play on earlier in the week. We took profit on that first one on the 610s, and we took profits on those 610s. And I called out a 630 for next week, but I also put a note there for the team. And the note pretty much said that if Meta was to, and I know it's in the option in the solidified swings channel where I look at trades. I know that note, the commentary is in here that I posted. It was a note that pretty much said that here it is. Said Meta looked great here. It looked like it's setting up for a strong move. If it got past 610, the next targets were at 625 to 630. If the market plays nice. And I was like, I wouldn't dare touch any of those strikes for this week's expiry. Now, keep in mind, this was on the 3rd. So that was I think that was that was Tuesday? Yeah, I think that was Tuesday. That was Tuesday. And then what ended up happening, go back to the options wins, but yeah, so and there was so every chart tells a story. And so um yeah, so the Meta pulled back. They pulled back some. So Ian Weaver, he asked a question in the chat. He said, are we still in meta trade? Are we still in this meta trade, or are we cutting this trade? I'm like, I said, remember market structure over P&L. And I'm like, what does the chart say? And then J Rock came out and said, well, it's holding support. It never lost support. Exactly. So that's a good place to average down. I believe that's what Ian Weaver did. And so he made a nice profit on Meta. And so we just wanted to give him a shout out on that. And on the QQQ play, killed that too. But it was the questions for me, because at the end of the day, if you don't understand something, you ask a question. Every chart tells a story. And if I put you in a trade, ask me a question about a trade, because yeah, so it's a lot of meta profits in here. Of course, no introduction really needed for strat ops. This guy, he kills it every week. Sniper killer, crushing meta. Um, Roman crushed meta. Look how he killed this. Look, this was check this out. So look, check this out, right? So I'm going through these profits, man, but it's a lot of stuff to talk about. But so yeah, I told on this was the same day that the day that Ian Weaver, I believe, asked that question, whatever. I told him, but that, at the end of that day, I told the team too, was something I said, or maybe it was the day after, I'm not sure, but I pretty much let them know. Look, Meta is extremely bullish, man. The stock is extremely bullish. So if it, just so we just we were these trades, I put extra time on them for a reason, and I told them in the commentary too. I said I said the reason we got the expiries that we got, and or got the plays that we got, because I'm like, if Meta pulls back, because the 610s, they had already went in the money. I wanted to sell those. Well, they were close to the money, but I wanted to sell them because we were heading into the close and grab that higher strike for the next week. Because I said to the team in that chat, I said, if Meta pulls back, does a retest, you know what I mean? We won't take the hit on these contracts for this week's expiry, because theta is lower on those on the contracts with a better expiry, or with more time. And so, yeah, that's what ended up happening. But it was a pretty big trade. I told everybody how bullish it was. But the reason I'm bringing that up now is because the morning after I made that comment, there was some snipers out there like swarming around in the chat, right? And KK, she came in there. She Meta took off. She jumped in the trade, and made a lot of money. But Roman, he killed this trade, man. He grabbed some contracts. He paid 225 for these contracts. He bought two of them, and turned it into to $2,700. You know what I mean? So he turned the 450 into 2,700 for a $2,300 profit. He crushed that trade all that morning. But look, I'm gonna tell you, this was another thing that was important. I gave them support and resistance. I gave them the targets and everything. And so he sold at resistance, was sold at near the target right there. So he sold at, while Meta was at 628.98. Look at Strat Ops. Sold Meta what, 628.50, almost the same thing. This one right here sold this one at 629. So I said the target for Meta was, if it got over 610, 625 to 630. So I always tell, give yourself some margin. They sold right there where they needed to sell. Here go KK that morning, killed it. Was in the same trade Roman grabbed. These contracts, they were 0 days to expiry at that point that she grabbed. I mean, see, yeah, him too. They grab contracts, but they snipers. They know that if you're gonna grab a 0 day to expiry contract, what time you got to be out of that play by? Somebody know the answer to that?
10 o'clock.
And the power hour.
You
Before
know,
the power.
yeah. So ideally 10 o'clock, but yeah, but if if it's still moving, yeah, I say power hour. Now there are some special situations, but just wanted to say that or whatever. So we came in there, we had a QQQ trade. That was another trade that played out to perfection too. And it's just a lot of QQQ trades in here. I wanted to talk about the Docu trade, but I'll just get to that and show y'all that. What's that? Meta, CB. Yeah, it's a lot of meta trades in here, a lot of QQQ trades in here, but I just wanted to kind of go to some of these other trades that I saw that were pretty Oh yeah, we crushed CRM too. We crushed them. We crushed that. Um, Tesla, KK Tesla, this coin trade. That this is a solid coin trade. Right here, $235 to $1,000. I had nothing to do with this trade. I'm just shouting it out because it was a solid, pretty solid trade. And yeah, so just like a lot of this was all this week. So the team did pretty well. Like a lot of see some more big trades in here. See it's a snow trade, $100 to like $500, and so that was a pretty big that was one of the setups from last week. More meta here. So yeah, so the team had a pretty big week. Team had a pretty big week, and it was just it was a lot going on, But I see there's a lot of stuff in here. But I did wanted to point out some of these other like the fives and the five and below. But like I said, Synopsys was a pretty big trade. But this was the DocuSign trade right here, and this was a good trade. And so I was there was a this was one of them plays where I was like, you know what, I was thinking about never mind, it don't matter what I was thinking. But yeah, so $240 something to like 1,500. Pretty solid trade on that one. Pretty solid trade on that one. The five and below. See, now this is why, like I tell y'all, so I want to say something about this though. I only put a few people in this five and below trade because I felt like it was too expensive for a lotto. You know what I mean? So I only put a few people in this play. I wouldn't have, so just some things aren't for everybody, but obviously, but for the team as a whole, we had a pretty good week. We had a pretty good week, and just sort of for the newer members or whatever who are sorry, just got this running around. So it's like I got 6 screens right here, so sometimes it gets a little wacky. But just for the new members that are just like checking in or whatever, so the trades get alerted in the solidified swings channel for the most part, right? And when a trade gets alerted, sometimes, just because let's say you missed the call out. So if the trade got called out at 12:30 or whatever, and you see, okay, that trade was $250 when it got called out at 12:30. So now you come in like 3 o'clock, you just panicked, you missed the alert, whatever, you come in 3 o'clock and you say, well, that trade that contract is now it's only like $100 or $150 or something now. So too late for me to get in that. I'm gonna always say, like, what does the chart tell you? Because that trade could have already played out. And just because it's cheap now, the structure could have broken down now. So you don't want to just because something is cheaper now, it doesn't mean it could be cheap because the structure broke and it fell off a cliff. You know what I'm saying? So you always want to start with the chart first. So, but these alerts are time sensitive. If you miss it, wait for the next one. Or like you can ask a question, like, but I'm saying, but I want y'all to be chart centric, not more alert centric, because an alert is an alert. But if sometimes you can miss an alert and it can be it can be a little bit more expensive now, but at the same time, it can have a better setup, even better setup. Depends because it's all about a setup. It's all about a setup. But sometimes it's asked before just going to chase a trade that had already played out, and sometimes it had been played out, and look at it like the time too. For example, some people think because the trade got a lot more time on it that oh, I should just hold it because they got time on it. That's not necessarily true. A stock can have a continuation to the downside if the structure breaks down. So it's not always about time either. It's always about setup for me. So that's why in the options trading Bible, I talk about market structure over P&L and market structure over EMAs, because it's all about the structure. And so that's just something that I wanted to point out to everybody. But let's just go ahead and move on.
Thank
So
you for explaining that. I needed that.
no problem. Yeah, so we still, still got the November profits up because we just started December. Like I said, we crushed November profit. We hit almost $5,000 per single option. So like I said, these are net profits. Someone asked the question, like, are these cherry pick trades? Like, nah. Like you see the losses are in here too. These are net profits. So when you subtract the losses from the wins, you get this total right here. And you can go and look into the in the solidified swings, and you can just look at all of the trades in there. They're all listed in there. That's why a lot of times if I post something and I make an error, I'll just repost it because I don't want to have no edits in there for auditing purposes. You know, if you edit anything in Discord, it's going to tell you that it's edited, right? So, but yeah, so this means so for each trade that I alerted, if you grab just one contract, it's one contract. So I'm gonna keep talking about the one contract thing because I see a lot of people that trade. And again, this is nothing. You got levels to trading, and everybody got different types of money that they're playing with too. But you know, but if you just grab one contract around here, you can make a nice salary, you know, a month just off of one contract. So imagine if you were grabbing two per trade, but if that's within your range or whatever. So there are people in communities, or I see people posting on threads and stuff where they grabbing like a lot of contracts, you know, to make the money that some of our people be making, killing with just one contract. So, you know, if they were here doing that, they would be, you know, making a hell of a lot more
Yes.
money, you know. So and a lot of people work and have jobs. So like on our regular on our 250, I always start with that. On our 250 a month subscription, that last month they made a 1900% ROI on that. You know what I'm saying? So you got to put things into perspective. Like we crushing it around here, and the way I do it, I mean, I try to to consider what I've called out for the team and how much money I made them on the trade when I'm going into the next trade, because I want you to always be using house money when you're trading. You shouldn't be going back into your bank account to get no money, but a lot of people be pressing buttons behind the scenes. So that kind of, you know, that throws off the numbers and say, well, you know, I couldn't afford that trade. And I'm like, well, you know, yeah. So, but just think about it like that. So, and so this is our profits for this last week, for the first week of October. You know, I mean, sorry, October, for December. We started off December, you know, with the ground running, right? So these are our profits so far for the month of December. Said I wanted to end it out with a bang for the whole team. So you know, that's just so far this is what we doing. So we already up over almost 500% on the ROI for, you know, for ROI for that for the 250 subscription for this particular month already. So we keeping it moving. And so we got some economic data this week, and just so like I said, the new people, don't be so quick to take every single trade, because every trade ain't for everybody. You know, you got to trade your your level, right? So, and if you do take trades, just stick to with the option trading Bible, with the trading the option trading checklist tells you, you know, and you'll be safe. You'll be fine. And just and so, you know, just so you can be safe, and just ask as many questions as possible, even if you don't like you feel like you may get a bad response, or you feel like someone may direct you to a guide or something. At least you know they're telling you where to go, you know. So just don't be afraid, because it's your real money that you're working with. Like I always say, if you started a new job and in orientation you didn't understand something, so but because you were shy or didn't want to look stupid, you didn't say anything, but it was about your schedule. And now you don't know what your schedule is, and you come to work late or something, you're gonna look bad. You know, you're gonna run, you messing with your money, the same thing. So in this situation, you want to do the same thing. Just try to do as much as possible, because at the end of the day, some people may come off a little like short sometimes, because it's like, well, you know, I know he didn't read this, because if he read that, he would know this, or he read it too fast. And so just try to go through the stuff. And I always tell y'all, like, if you go through the how-to guide, and I'm gonna move on from this, but I just want to say this in the best way possible. If you like look at the how-to guide, like, you know, those textbooks math textbooks we used to have in elementary school, where they were thick as hell. But if the first part of the textbook was going through adding and subtracting, just because you read that part, that doesn't mean that you're ready to move on to multiplication yet, because you still don't understand the concepts of adding and subtracting. Multiplication isn't going to make sense if you don't understand how to add. You know what I'm saying? So just because you read it, that doesn't mean you're ready to move on to the next section. So don't rush through the material. You want to really, because then you're gonna, you know, just want to be on point with it, because we're playing with real money here, and it can be fun, but you know. So, and then the last thing I want to say about it is, what I say is, the people that are really busy, that don't have a whole lot of time to trade, you should only take the swing trades. Wait, so most of the time, if I'm going to alert a swing trade, as that swing trade is going to get alerted at the end of the day, it's going to be like right before the close. So just come online and pay attention to that Solidify Swings channel. Your notification should be on for that channel anyhow, right? And wait for, like I would say ideally the last five to 10 minutes before the close, because I'm looking for a setup. I'm looking for how the daily is going to close, or maybe the weekly, depending on what day it is. And I'm looking for that candle solidification, seeing what's going to happen. So that's what's making me determine if we're going to swing. And most of the time, I'll say like 90 to 95% of the time, if I alert a swing trade, it's going to be profitable the next day at market open. So if you paid attention at the end of the day, got into the swing trade, you can sell that at market open the next day. 90% of the time, you're going to be successful. You're not going to have to wait for it to play out. I mean, it may have a continuation and keep going. There are times where, it didn't play out. But think about it like this. If I'm in a swing, if I'm calling out a swing, it's because I'm expecting a gap up or a gap down the following day. Because if I'm not expecting a gap up or gap down, we can wait for the next day to buy that contract, because theta decay is real. Theta decay is a Greek. It's one of the worst Greeks if you are options buyer, because it's time decay. The closer your contract gets to the expiration, the higher the theta gets, and it burns your premium off your contract. So just because you're holding it, you're losing money. So if I'm not expecting the stock to gap up, meaning it's going to open higher than the closing price of that current day, or to gap down, open lower than the price that it closed at significantly, then I can wait till the next day to buy that contract, because it's likely going to be cheaper. So just like if the market closed today and the stock it closed at $100, the stock did, and it opened up at that same price the next day, no move at all, if the contract is going to be cheaper because theta is going to be higher. You know what I'm saying? So if I don't think the stock is going to move, or I'm not expecting it to move, then I can wait till the next day to buy that. So I'm only swinging if I'm expecting a gap up, or gap down if I'm buying puts. So just keep that in mind. So, and most of the time you can buy those contracts and then you can sell them the next morning if you're busy, and just you dedicate a little bit of time. So I don't like to hear when people say they're too busy to do this, because like I said, shout out to KK. She was getting her master's, she running a whole clinic, and got some kids, and they some kids. So you know what I mean? Like, and she still finds a way to get it done. And I'm not just using her as an example. There's a lot of other successful people that are just doing it, but you make time for what you want to make time for. And you can make this work. Like, I know my team is like 60K right now for the whole year. I made my team like 60K in net profits for this whole year. And we just talking about regular trades that are alerted in the Solidify Swings channel, on a one contract basis. So you can make a lot of money here just following that one thing. Just where the reason a lot of people can't be successful, can't make trading a career and like a real source of income, is because they got that gambling gene and they don't got any self-control, or you get on that high horse, you start hitting a few wins and you think you're invincible, and you start over leveraging now because you got the extra money, so so I feel like if you just take your time. There's a lot that you can do, and you see a lot of success happening around here. So just let's just keep that going, and let's end this year strong. We still got a few weeks left, and yeah, cool. So recap, lessons learned. Anybody, because we go through this part and then we can get to, I know, everybody's favorite part, which is the charts and upcoming events. So guess we want to start off. What's up, J
I
Rock?
kick it off. I kick it off. So this week I had a good week, but I think it was a real week to learn from too. Because in my past, really this year, because this is my first year taking trading like really serious, I went through a lot of selling too early when the structure is still intact, just from P&L watching. And this week I was away from P&L watching and just looking at the charts and the market structure. And then I held metal through the whole storm, and then sold right when we got to break even, instead of holding for the high road and seeing the benefits of holding through it. So it's a step in the right direction, but it's still a lesson learned too at the same time. Because with the structure holding and then reaching those next targets, I could have seen the better side of the actual trade rather than just holding it for the long roll, or the short roll, I should say.
You know, that's a good one. That's a real good one. And shout out to you though too, because even with the DocuSign trade, you said it. You told us. Now look, you told us that DocuSign was going to 105. It was giving 105 vibes. So I held on the contract. I said, well, J Rock said it's going to 105. So I'm gonna hold it. I'm gonna hold on to 105. You know,
Right.
And then
and
it
so
exceeded the target.
it exceeded the target. It ended up going up to like 107, but you got out of the trade early. So that was another instance, but you made enough some good money off of it, but you could have made double what you made if you held it. So
I know, I know.
yeah, so that's good.
Got to
That's
do
cool,
better.
bro. But no, but it's good. But you just pointed it out, Joe, in the last which in your last example. So I just wanted to say shout out to you for DocuSign because you were actually right about that. And you said it in the chat. And it actually happened. You know what I'm saying? And people stayed in that trade and made more money off of it, you know? So yeah, because honestly, my initial plan, I was like, when they get over back over 100, I'm just gonna sell it. That's what I was saying. I'm like, I'm like, and then when it got over 100, I was just like, I still was in it. But then when you said 105, I said, actually, yeah, I do see 105 because I was monitoring, I was in other trades. So yeah, so I ended up holding it, based off of that. So yeah, so still shout out though because you were right. So you're seeing stuff and it's actually happening. So now you just gotta. But like I said, another thing J Rock said that I wanted to kind of just capitalize on because I said this to the team Friday, well, last week, like the meta trade. Since trading is 90% psychological, and people, that's something, a phrase that's or a term or a saying that's sent around this community and just the trading community or just this space in general, and everybody say it, but nobody really fully understands it, right? So what I always do, I always try to incorporate different things into my trades and when I'm teaching my team because I want them to get the psychological aspect of it correct because you know like I lost a lot of money when I first started trading, and so I try to make sure that the things that I teach it'll help make things easier for the team because we can talk theory all day and we can get into trades and they can be successful all day. But sometimes like the meta trade, for example, meta trade, I gave the whole setup on it that everything was intact for the trade. Like I said, when I am Weaver asked a question about it, and like I said, I love that because now I can trust him because I'm like, okay, cool. He's gonna ask a question if you don't understand, and it helped a lot of people out. But this was the best part about it though holding through that and trusting the that market structure over P&L is a real thing. You had time, so you didn't have to worry about time decay and running out of time. We had leverage because time is leverage. So the thing is, but the issue with this, this is where it comes in, and you actually get your mental toughness, and it helps you. It gives you some strength that you can draw from in the future. Is when Meta finally did take off, because it held support the whole time. When it finally did took off, it broke out and it ran and hit those targets, and they were pretty lucrative contracts. What it does is it gives you this mental toughness because you actually followed the process and you say, you know what, it did hold support, and it was down, and I trusted it, and I got to see the fruits of that, and it feels good when you actually trust something and you did not sell and you stuck to it, and you got to see the whole mission through, and it was a triumphant situation. And that actually is something you can draw from versus having that, well, I held a trade one time before and it died. So anytime a trade pull back a little bit, I'm just going to do that, or trying to figure out exactly what time frame that, because sometimes most people are looking at the wrong time frame. And I always tell you, the lower the time frame, the higher the emotion. So you're going to get shaken out really quickly. But I saw Taylor raise her hand. So I'm sorry, unmute her mic. So I want to, did you want to say something? KK, I see yours is unmuted too.
We can't hear you, Taylor. Are you
Uh,
talking?
I'm embarrassed to say that I held on to the Facebook put and watched it drop, watched my heart drop, emotions on 1,000, and it came back. And when it came back, I wasn't paying attention to structure. I was paying attention to my emotions. And it actually exceeded like I got my money back and I made some money, but had I paid attention to structure, I could have held on to Meta longer and got more profit off the put when we did the straddle.
Meta?
Um,
Yes.
We didn't strangle Meta at all. We played calls on that.
I'll look up
Are you talking about QQQ?
when we did the straddle for it was
The strangle?
Yeah, that sounded the strangled. I think that was
That was a
QQQ.
strangle. That was QQ. That was for that was for non. So yeah. So we had the biggest jobs report of the year that came out on Friday. So we did a QQQ strangle into the non-farm payroll data for that. Yeah, we didn't do that.
then it was the QQQ, not the Meta, and I held the put for too long and lost too much, and I gambled it to see if it was going to come back, and it
Oh
did come
no.
back.
See what if
I said I'm embarrassed to say it, but I'm gonna be transparent. Like I did, and I got my money. I thank God the money came back and made some, but it definitely was the first time I've ever been like super attached, super emotional, and it's not a fun feeling. I don't like it, and so
No, that's good though that you're expressing it though. But I'm saying like like me being a coach or whatever, like I'm more I wish I knew about it. You know what I'm saying? Because one thing I'm gonna tell y'all, I wanted everybody to notice though. This was a clean one. I love that. I'm glad that she brought this up because QQQ, this was a clean strangle. Like we strangled QQQ because we knew that the non-farm payroll data would be a big report, and it was the biggest report of the year. And I knew that there would be revisions for October because we got November's jobs data and this December report we got November's jobs data, but then we got the revisions for October, and I felt like they would put the revisions in our favor because they wanted the market to keep going. But you can get surprises and you don't know. It's all based on the data. If it came in and it wasn't a good report or whatever, then the market would have fell off a cliff and it was already up. So we strangled for that. But the thing was, sometimes strangles aren't as clean as you want them to be. This one was the market chose a direction that opened, so you immediately sell the put. You're supposed to immediately sell the put because
Absolutely.
it was already the market had already chosen a direction, and we like I said we strangled. You're only strangling, because like for example, we got into that strangle on Thursday, heading into Friday, because again we had the jobs report on Friday, and the jobs report happens at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. So that's before the market opens. So there's nothing we can do while the market is closed. So whatever trade you're in, whatever the market does, you're at the mercy of the market. So we strangle for big economic events like that. And we played it. We played it really nicely, and we were like at the money on both. See, it was almost like we were pretty much at the money. And so, but at market open, because we knew the market was bullish and everything was already running to the upside, you cut the put immediately. Now, so that's just because the market already chose a direction. And sometimes it's so, and this was a good one because sometimes it's so dynamic. I mean, it's such the volatility is so strong and it's such a big move that it totally cancels out the other side. This was a good one because you didn't even had to do that. So the net profit was even bigger on that strangle. So yeah, that's why. So that's why remember a few last month I was saying, look, new traders, if you don't really understand the strangle, don't take this trade. Let's wait for the next one. You know what I mean? Wait for one of the regular call outs because but I'm glad you brought it up because now I'm just saying this again. Like if you're in a strangle, if we play a strangle, like I said, we got some economic events coming up, that we may or may not depending on what's going on, and I got to look at some data or whatever, that could possibly be another opportunity for something like that. But the strangles aren't for everyone because but then a lot of people do that, but this was a clean one though, where it just kind of you knew the direction already. It was already up at market open, so you cut the other side. What's up, KK?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I'm, I think that comes back to when Antoine always says, like, ask a question. If you ask in the chat, it would have been 50 people who would have jumped out like, girl, cut that side. So that's why we gotta communicate.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had a good week this week. And so Antoine called me out in the chat for everybody and put a voicemail about Tesla. And I'm just gonna talk about why I got into Tesla because I come to every one of these study groups, I listen, I'm taking my notes. Antoine told us a couple weeks ago, like, look, 400's not in play until Tesla starts stabilizing over 350. And so once I went in, I'm watching Tesla. I'm like, okay, it's holding up here up over this 350. Now we're in 355 zone. Like, okay, we're coming closer to the end of the market. Then I like to go look at the historical data. When was the last time we were up here? Now, this wasn't since I believe it was like April of 2022 was the last time that Tesla was even closing up around here, and it took off from this area. So I said, yeah, I'm in sniper mode. I'm going to get into the trade. But I did come in that morning and tell everybody I felt like Tesla wanted smoke and gave the level. Antoine told us it needed to break 361. And when it broke, it took off. So yeah, I turned, I think 150 to like 800 something dollars. So shout out to my teacher for always keeping us on point.
Shout out to you for that execution, because you did come in the chat that morning because I think it was Brian that asked the question about whether or not whether if I think what the Tesla level was, and you gave it to him where with the level from last Sunday's meeting. And yeah, so that was pretty good. That was pretty good.
And Dale posted the chart and showed where we was at. So yeah, I think
okay, gotcha.
all of that was in play. It was in play.
But yeah, but like I said, me, man, I'm a questions guy. I'm gonna ask questions. I'm gonna do due diligence, but I'm gonna ask questions because, and like I said, it's easy. It's for y'all. It may be like, it's easy for you to say that now, but like I'll tell y'all a story, being on the trade desk floor at T Row and having somebody say some of the things that they said to me, you know what I mean? But I always tell y'all, like, just to put things into perspective, when you got, even if you just look at the regular people here, I said you had somebody tell me, I was asking a question and they were like, I got a $3 million trade that has to be executed in the next 60 seconds. I don't have time for this. I don't have time for this. They didn't have a nice way to say it or whatever, but and a colleague of mine was like, he didn't have to say it like that. I just turned around and said, man, the $3 million trade that got to be executed in the next 60 seconds. I was just like, that gave me adrenaline. That made my adrenaline rush. And I told Muhammad, I said, look, so the next time I got a question, I'm gonna think twice to come ask him. I'm gonna make sure it's something that I could not have researched already, that they probably didn't already have somewhere, before I come ask them a question, because they got a $3 million, they executing $3 million trades in 60 seconds. I can imagine what that feel. I remember the first time I bought 10 SPY contracts at one time. You know what I'm saying? So just imagine the rush that they had, and it's somebody else's money that they were trading, So, so just put those things in perspective. And we got all of these tools in here. In my free time, for the most part, I'm looking at charts, or I'm revamping things. And look, shout out to Pedro. Like, Pedro was on here right now. Pedro sent me a DM last year about, like, about how confusing things were, and like and different things that could be fixed and things that could be better. And my initial reaction was to defend everything. But I thought first, I said, you know what? I said, this is golden. You don't get stuff like this. So I start asking him more stuff. He gave me some suggestions of names of channels and what should be deleted. Man, I deleted like 30 channels and, revamped things, came up with, I did a whole lot of changes. A lot of those things that you see in there is because something that Pedro said, you know what I mean? I'm like, Pedro run his own business and stuff like that. He managed do different things. So, just because this is what I do, I can take advice from other people. So I'm like, if you speak up and you got something to say, you say it. But if you see ways to make things better, let's do that. You know what I'm saying? But we gotta, I'm just letting y'all know that's what actually happened. And so I'm practicing what I preach. You got to be able to take feedback. If you can't take feedback without getting offended, then you aren't as mature as you think you are. You know what I'm saying? And you aren't ready to grow. Like, who you are, the person that you are ain't going to get you to where you want to go. You know what I'm saying? So we're successful around here, but we can be a lot more successful if all of us were working together. You know what I'm saying? So I call out a lot of trades, but I don't care who come up with the trade as long as we make money. So if you came up with a chart, or Drew came up with a chart, or anybody saw something, and there's been plenty of times where I've had members just hop on Zoom and bring up something that was going on, and I'm like, oh shit, look at the chart, and we jump in this trade, and we all made money. So it's like everybody's got to, if all of us, I always say, if I'm not paying attention, we all crash and burn. But no, like I said, I'm seeing more members stepping up and doing more things, and And that's how, we can't be everywhere at one time. But that open book test on Friday was for everybody, and it's cool. We're gonna keep doing more things like that, and try to just keep things going.
I love the open book test. That was everything.
Look, it killed, it took everything out of me. It took everything in me not to alert that Tesla trade to the, as a trade alert, because since I didn't alert that as a trade alert, that can't go towards our profits for the year. You know what I'm saying? So, but it was open book test. It is what it is. I can, so it's cool. It's cool. We're gonna make up for that anyway. But yeah, so let's just so anybody else got anything they want to add? But I'm gonna tell y'all, like I'm gonna say this. Listen, I say this every Sunday around this time during this slide. um if you don't ask questions or you don't have any real questions, right? During this part, I'm assuming that okay, they cool, they understand what we're talking about, they got it. We're gonna get onto the chart alerts, and we're gonna get onto the charts and trades and stuff, and we're gonna be fine. Less hand holding, but based on the types of questions that I get here, it kind of helps me understand the tone and what type of like commentary I need to provide with my trades, or what type of hand holding, if any, is needed for certain types of trades. Now if you're shy, you can book a coaching too. You know what I mean? So like I have a few coachings for this upcoming week, but it's still some slots open. But take some of them profits and book a coaching. So you can get ahead of things. Sometimes it just may not be what you think, what you want it to be. Everybody, and it's not like a one size fit all thing for coaching either. Like it's everything is tailored to the person. So just keep that in mind. But I'm gonna move on to the economic data and chart setups. So I'm just gonna hit economic data first, because it's a blackout period, because we got that FOMC meeting coming up soon, and it's the last rate decision before the new year, and the last one before I think it's the last one before Trump takes office actually too. And I know y'all saw what I posted. Trump says he don't plan on removing Fed J Powell, so that's gonna be bullish too. And but yeah, so the economic data we got for this week. So we got no Fed speakers, but I'm gonna tell y'all, we do got some wild cards though. So remember Loretta Metzer, she used to be the Cleveland Fed president, and she retired last June. Well, this June it just passed, yeah, last June. But now she's working at the Wharton School with Professor Jeremy Siegel, and you know how he causes volatility in the market a lot. And now she's constantly speaking throughout the week, different places, about her thoughts on the economy, and it causes volatility in the market. So I still keep an eye out for when she's speaking. So it says no Fed speakers for this week, and she's not a Fed member anymore. So she's not a voting member, but her opinion still moves the market at times, because she can give an idea of what the Fed may do. So just keep that in mind. It says no Fed speakers, but yeah, some out there looming. But yeah, we got CPI on Wednesday, we got PPI on Thursday, we got jobless claims on Thursday. We got light economic data for now. And it's cool. It's cool. Yeah, I like it like that. We got some other events that could possibly pop up. But let's get on to these charts. We got a lot of charts to cover, so I got some pretty good ones I'm excited about. Charts. Just go here. All right, so since I got the Tesla chart up, I might as well just start here. First thing I saw was this rising wedge here. First thing I saw when I opened up the chart. Single wedge. But look out, let me just see something. But it's all, channels and charts, whatever. But obviously it's a bull flag right here too. So this is what we traded. We traded this bull flag breakout. So this just goes to show you can see any channel, you can see as many channels as you want to see, or any patterns you want to see on the chart. whichever ones you play. We played the bull flag. It was riding this 9 EMA up, and it broke out and it took off. It did what it needed to do. Now look, so where do we see? Because it's so much. Tesla hasn't been up here for a while. Like I remember when Tesla first broke here, I posted in the chat like how Tesla hadn't been up here since I think it was April of 2022. And then now up here, like KK said, it hadn't closed up here since 2022 either. So it's making these higher closes. But let's go to the weekly chart because it's going to give us some levels where we can give us some price to kind of reference at this point, right? So I still think it'd be easier to look at on even on a monthly chart at this point because I'm gonna show you how this breakout before I start posting the levels. This is a wedge break here too. If you look at zoom out a little bit, and it's gonna be easier to see this on the monthly chart because I'm just going to show there. Like whenever in doubt, I always say zoom out. Sometimes it's a lot of noise on the chart and you got to zoom out so you can make things a lot clearer. Now you can see that, y'all see that wedge even clearer now, right? On this monthly chart, beautiful breakout and continuation here on Tesla. So we can see, Brian was asking about psychological levels last week. Now 400 is another psychological level here. Remember 300 was a psychological level. We couldn't get over it and we got through it. Things took off. And then, like we were talking about, like you just said a little while ago, 400 wasn't in play until we stabilized over 350. And now we're $10 away. Well, yeah, I guess we can look at it that way. But right now, if you look at the, if I turn the after hours on, you'll see that Tesla is actually at 395 right now. I think I can turn it on from here. It has to be like a lower time frame. I'm just gonna show you how to do it. Now, I don't recommend touching these settings. I always say this because I'm gonna give y'all like a cautionary tale with another trader of mine. He was in a trade and he had after hours on and his EMAs were off and it throws everything off. It throws off the candles and everything. I just turned it on just to look at that, show y'all what's at 395 right now. But yeah, so Tesla, let's talk about Tesla, like I just said on the daily chart, man. So like I said, I feel like Tesla's going to 400 anyhow. At this point, obviously, it seems clear that it's going there, but we don't know where the market is going to open tomorrow, right? So I'll say over 390. The first target would be 395 and then 400, so that's just where that is for now. And there are higher targets over 400 than. I think there are some gaps over here. No, I don't think there are no gaps, but 1 second. Yeah, there's a small gap above 400. Second. It's actually almost completely full, actually. Because then we start looking for those gaps. Just want to go fill those gaps afterwards, right? So it's going to mark it just to have it. So you see where price finished now up here. So this would be a cool, it's coming up here and it's gotten rejected here before, but that was a lot of flow, a lot of volume going in there, and just the whole market sentiment. I like the way SPY pulled back a little bit, and we just got the whole, like, it's a few of them that are down, but it's enough to keep everything going, and just the sentiment is pretty bullish for it right now. So yeah, but for Tesla, over 390, 395, and then 400, and then 407 would be your next target to the upside. Now, on the put side, if we were to lose 370.80, then my first target would be first target would be that 360. So 1 second. Yeah, 370.80. We lose that. My first target would be this breakout point. It would be the breakout point. We come back down here and retest the breakout point. It lines up with the non-EMA, but the non-EMA is going to change on Monday. So I'm gonna say the breakout point. This would be our previous resistance that turned into new support, and most likely that's where we would come back down and retest. So the first target would be, let's call it I'm gonna call it 359, 359.50, something like that. So if we lose that 370.80, we're looking for a nice move down. You know what I'm saying? That's a pretty nice move down to retest this breakout area. That'd be a good one for Tesla. So yeah, keep this one on watch. It's pretty good. We move on. SMCI. Let's get that out of the way really quickly. And shout out to Brian on that one too, man. Brian was paying attention. He was locked in on that one. But yeah, so we see this was, I learned this trade for multiple reasons. Because number one, they had that the stock fell off the cliff here because their accounting firm quit on them, said they could not stand behind the type of books or type of numbers that they were coming, the data, the financial figures that they were bringing back, meaning like, nah, if they got audited, they didn't want to be attached to it. So the stock fell off a cliff, and there was talks about if they didn't get their finances in order and didn't present their financial reports by a certain date, they were going to be delisted from the S&P 500. It just got added to the S&P 500, right? So the stock dropped, and it was continuation. But then a report came out that that they were going to have their financials in order by a certain date, and that they weren't going to be delisted. And then they just hired a pretty reputable accounting firm to represent them now, and said that their books were not that the data, that the financials were not in ruins, and that the data was not out of compliance or whatever. So, and that they will have the report ready by whatever the deadline is. So the stock started to move. We got a nice 222 continuation here on the daily. And my target, like I told the team last week, my target was 47. The reason my target was 47 is we got a bearish gap fill right here at 40, at what is this, at 47.67, my target, right? So, and the stock has just been making moves up to the upside, and we just had the 90 EMA just cross back over the 50 EMA. And look at this volume that came in here on Friday. Extremely high volume that came in there on Friday, right? So we got a nice continuation here on the stock. And so over 40, I'm gonna say over 45, the next target would be, I'm going straight to 47. I'm going straight to 47 for my target on this one. So that's the next target, 47.59. And on the put side, if we were to lose 41.34, then 38.60 would be my next target. 38.60 would be my next target. That should take us back down to the 90 EMA. If we don't hold there, then we got a strong move down to go. But I think we probably would bounce there. Pretty bullish. Look at the weekly chart here. Just give you some context on what's going on. You can kind of see we got the 222 continuation. So we got time frame continuity. And again, the month just started. We got a 222 reversal on the monthly here. So it's looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. SMCI, super microcomputer. Let's move on. Let me hit NVIDIA quickly. For NVIDIA, we got a 222 reversal here, but it did hold the 90 EMA, and there is a level up in here that is kind of sitting at. So I mean, the flow is bullish. I mean, it looks a little bearish on it for right now, but I like the fact that it's still holding a support level. So we got a 222 reversal, came down, and it closed back over the support level here. So it could bounce here. If it doesn't, we got a long way down. So this could be a pretty good trade. I like charts that set up like this because it gives you multiple ways to play it. First things first, before I'm just going to do this, and then we're going to look at the weekly first, and then I'll come back to that. Still bullish on the weekly. Okay, so a 222 reversal on the weekly. So that's good, because then that kind of supports the theory that it came back up on the daily and held that support. But if you're not checking the multiple time frames, and the reason I'm checking the weekly too is because the week just ended, and we're going into a new week. So I want to make sure that it lines up with what I'm seeing on the daily. And it does. So although we got people that's why I was telling a member last week, it doesn't matter if you see, a 222 reversal to the downside is bearish, right? But that's just one indicator. It's one indicator. Which story is the chart telling? You got to see the whole picture. But I'm going to say support and resistance over anything. And first thing I saw was, I saw a 222 reversal, and I see this bear flow coming in here. And, and the volume was extremely bearish on Friday here, right? But I'm support and resistance is my friend. That's the most important aspect of everything that we do in trading, right? And it's holding a support level here. So, and it just so happens to line up with the 9 EMA too. So we got more, we got more support for a bullish case than bearish at this point, because the selling stopped here. But the thing is, if we were to lose 141.30, then we got some levels we can hit. The first target would be, if we were to lose that 141.30, first target for me would be 140.25, and then 137.10, because we got the 50 there, a likely bounce there. That'd be a nice move down for NVIDIA if that happens, So we got those areas that could be hit. The first one was a gap, would be a bullish gap fill area. That was the first one here. Is that one second? Yeah. So right there, and then the 50 EMA, which is this green line here. But to the upside, there's a few ways. Now remember, I just said this is a support level here where it stopped. This can be played multiple ways. The first way to play this is, wait for it to take out the trigger, So if it takes out the trigger, so in order for it to take out the trigger, it has to go all the way up to 145.70. And then your first target on that would be 146.57. And then you got another level up here, then you got another area up here where we would hit, so we got some levels that we could hit to the upside, but you gotta wait. It's like, damn. So if NVIDIA closed at 142.44, I gotta wait until they get all the way up to 145.70 before I can say, oh, it's bullish and I can take calls. No, if it holds this support and it bounces off this support and you're sniper at the open and it does that, you could trade that up into this level right here and sell it there, or sell it when it gets to the trigger for calls, or shave it. It's different ways that you can play it. But I'm just giving this as a bounce off a support type play. That's a different way. So it's two ways that you can play that here. So I just wanted to make sure I just covered that. But yeah, I like the way the chart looks. Just wanted to cover it. Spent a lot of time here, but it's good. Let me go to, let me type maybe Microsoft first. Niche. Pretty good chart. This is a pretty good chart. It's the breakout for me right here. I like on this one, because when you think about it, we were in this, if you look here, we came up here, we rejected this area. Ever since we lost this area, we've been playing in this channel, and we finally got a breakout. But let me just, but like I said, we're gonna have to look at this the way we look at it. I'm gonna zoom out, obviously, and look at the weekly on this, because this candle, it kind of, although it's bullish, the stock look bullish. If I'm looking at it just like this, then this could be a rejection. The candle, we got an inverse hammer on there, and it went up above the level, but it came back down and closed back below it. So let me just mark this up. So this is where the first one, where it rejected that area. Then here was another one, didn't even make it up there that time, and then this time it did. Now listen, that doesn't mean that it won't break out and go. That's not what it means, right? So let's just see what the weekly is talking about. On the weekly, you can see this a lot clearer, So, but that's a lot. That's some good volume that came in there. It's a really good volume. that came in there. So we'll just have to see how it plays out. But I like the chart because if it does end up breaking out, we got some room. But if it rejects it, you see how hard that reject has been in the past, right? So that can be a nice continuation to the downside on this if it was to break down, considering what's happened before on it. So let me just let's consider all things. You know, it's like if this happened, then do this. If this happens, then do this. I personally think it's going to run. I personally think it could run if the market continue. If we get a continuation with this, with the market, I think it runs and continues to go higher. But like I said, we'll have to just wait and see what actually happens here. Because personally, yeah. So we'll just have to play it like as it comes, right? There's a gap area up here also that we can possibly fill if we do get a continuation. But let me just get this and then we go on. We're almost there anyhow. Like that's what it wants, but like I said, we got to clear this area first. Get up in here. So yeah, so with Microsoft, man, the chart looks good, and we got a continuation. But you know, like I said, these levels are just whatever. They just something that I saw, you know, with my eyes. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's the end all be all with anything. Over 446.10, then the first target would be 447.72, and then 452.31. And so on. I mean, Microsoft's been on a tear, but like I said, I've seen these types of moves from the stock plenty times, and then, but yeah, we just gotta pay attention to the stuff. Like it breaks up and it goes, but yeah. And to the put side, this could be a 222 reversal, end up being a 222 reversal. We get a really nice move on the puts. So if we were to lose 441.77, then my first target on this would be here. Right up in here, 436.68, and then we got the non-EMA at 432.86. That's probably going to change, so it probably could possibly come back down and retest that, but that would be a bigger move. It would give us a 222 reversal and a rejection with an inverse hammer right there, so that would be a nice move down. I mean, the EMAs are pumping. It looked like it's trying to go higher. I'm just pointing this out to pay attention to it. I've seen these get broken plenty of times, and the stock just breaks out and goes, but just pointing it out. We just got to keep it on watch. Hey, 5 and below, man. Had to go hit this chart, man. So it finished right here at its 200 moving average, right? Let me just see where my EMA is. Hold on. Well, either way, we got our 200 moving average right here. I know it rejected that 200 EMA on Thursday, closed under it, and then we came down and we looked like we got closed under the 200 moving average here, but that also lines up with some other things. So we're just going to talk about it for a second. I don't like to really put lines on this chart, but I want to show y'all some things. Hold up. So I'm like, are we going to fill the earnings gap, or is that what we're doing already? We just now got up there, pretty big earnings. This is the weekly chart. Still look bullish. Went up and rejected this 50 on the week, but looks pretty good. It's pretty good. So I think this could be a good setup to trade for next week because of the potential of what could possibly happen either way. So I'm gonna talk to you about a few things on this one. So yeah, because right here at this 200 moving average, but like I said, it looked like we got a candle confirmation under it, but it's also a level here also that it's kind of holding. So we just have to see how it plays out. If we lose that 111.10, we're gonna probably close that gap down here. Look like it's gonna go straight down here and close this gap. That would be my first. Well, my first target would be that 108 first, 108 first before the gap. But the gap is there too. So hit 108 first, and then we got the gap fill right here that it just we just got. That's if we were to lose. All right, just come back down here and fill this this earnings gap that we just got. So, and that's at what is that 105. All right, so we got that to the upside. If we were to take out the we were to bounce here, just take out that 118.30, then we can go back up and retest. We can go back up and retest 122 and then 124.97, and then we got the gap fill. So we got a few levels that we can hit on this, and it's kind of in the middle, but I don't like how it just gave up those gains that quickly. They had a pretty solid earnings, and the guidance was great. It was a pretty good guide on the stock. So with the call, so I don't see why they sold it, why it's coming down, but I think that the setup on this looks good for a move either way. You know what I'm saying? We can get a big move either way on this one. Those contracts print too, so just keep it on watch. Octa. This is another one. Really good chart setup on this one. They had earnings, stock move. Now you see we finished right here. It held, so it's been holding this 200. So this was the earnings gap up right here. It came up. It looked like it was going to have a continuation and fill that previous earnings gap, the bearish gap, but it did not. It got rejected here, came down, but it's holding its 200 EMA. It's holding its 200 EMA. It came up, so it finished here, gapped up, ran up here, came back down, and finished at the 200-day. And then on Friday, bounced that right here at the 200 EMA and finished right here. So this one can have this is a really nice setup on this. I think we got a real chance of this running. Okta had an amazing quarter. Earnings was great, phenomenal quarter for Okta, identity provider. So, but yeah, so over 85, 34. I'm looking for a move back up here to, if we clear that, we should be able to get a nice move on this one back up into this area here. Because I really don't want to trade this as if I don't want to trade it as if we're gonna just say, oh, it's gonna fill this earnings gap, this previous earnings gap. I don't want to trade it that way. I want to just trade it like level by level, because again, you can see the stock it can get really yeah, it can move, you can get big moves off of it, but then sometimes you don't. But it's so crazy how this one this was a total. So this is another example how you can't just let every earnings trade be the same, because like this is a good stock to trade the day after earnings. Last quarter, not only did it run, I mean, not only did it fall, but it had a nice continuation after the print. You get what I'm saying? So it had a really nice continuation and finished down on this one. This one did the opposite. It had a nice earnings and ran up, gapped up, but then it rejected and came down. So, but it's still holding, ready for a reset. And the 200 EMA is pretty good place to hold if you're gonna hold somewhere, right? So I think that we should keep our don't know why. Hold on one second. So yeah, and for the put side though, for Okta, if we were to lose that 82.69, then we're looking for a move down to 81.33, and then possibly down even further to who's gonna mark it. So that just to really quickly, the 81.33 was the non-EMA. That's why I'm not marking that, because that could possibly change, but that would be the first level that we would get to. The first thing, and could likely bounce there. We'll see what happens. And then after that, we got a gap fill area here that'll likely attempt to fill, which is down here, like what is that? At 77.56. So we got those. areas that we could hit on this one if that was to happen. So, but I keep Octa on watch. I like the setup on it. The stock has the potential to move. And again, it has no reason to be down. It has no reason to be down, and it's holding the 200 EMA, so, or 200 moving average. So just keep it on watch. I think it's bullish. I think it's going to run personally. So yeah, that's my thought. I think the stock is going to run. And so see what happens. Go from there. But 1 second. What's next? What's next? Yeah. Really, really nice right here for Lulu. And it's headed towards this gap area, but I mean, not there yet. You know, I don't like to have my, like I said, eyes on the gap, but it's here. So I'm just going to mark it. I'm going to mark the bottom of it too, because that could be a level place where price could get rejected, or it'll give us a lot of momentum if it breaks through it too. So something to keep an eye on for it. Pretty strong gap up and go. You know, it held most of its gains. I would have liked it to close over 400. That would have been even better. But I thought that was a pretty solid place where it closed. I want to see something. My bad. I'm just checking the weekly chart to get a cleaner look. See what I'm seeing. Yeah, so let's see what happens there. Let's see what it does there. I like that breakout and move on the earnings from it. But yeah, so this one, see, it's hard to kind of say something about this one. I'm gonna tell y'all why. And for a stock like this that ran up like this, look at it. So it opened at 377 on Friday, and it closed at 399. So for you got that's a long move down to wait for the trade puts on it. So then you would have to do surgery on that daily candle and look for a setup to play puts on this one. You know what I'm saying? Because otherwise you're waiting until this stock, you know, makes a pretty strong move down before solidifying a put move under 377, right? So, and then the first target would be not the gap fill, but you know, the first target would be like up in here, because we got a few up in there, and then I would say the gap fill would be next. But we just gotta, I'm not sure it's gonna be bearish, but you know, just I'm gonna give y'all some levels too to that downside. But I'm just saying that you would have, like I said, as far as the immediate thing, if you want to trade puts on it, now this is what I'm gonna say. If because it did close over 400. If it end up being an area where this price get rejected and comes down, like I said, you got to do surgery on the daily candle and, you know, session hourly candle, or possibly even and paired with a 5-minute, and look for a setup on that. Like if you see a bear flag or lose VWAP or something like that, then you can play a move down to, you know, like let's say lose 3WAP, lose VWAP on the session hourly, because we got a 222 reversal here, but that could just be a pullback. It's still right there holding that VWAP like it's ready to take off and go again. But if it was to lose it, wait for a retest of this, and then the target, you can come down here and play it down to 390 at the 9 EMA, you know, play it off or something like that. But that's looking for a setup. That's trading the price action live. I was just saying that that trigger for puts is too far away. You'll miss a whole move waiting on that if you wanted to just play puts on it, you know. But I'm thinking Lulu is bullish. Nice bullish close. If the market has a continuation, I see no reason why Lulu doesn't have a nice move. Go to Goldman Sachs, see what my favorite stocks is doing right now. Go back to the daily. Okay, nice move right here. I like this. Because remember, Goldman Sachs was another one, you know, that gapped up because financials they're in play now. And so we got that gap up, and it's been on the move ever since. I like this nice retest right here. Still holding, reclaimed the 9 EMA. Look like it's setting up for another move to go higher again. And again, I like trading this stock. We made a lot of money trading this stock around here. So I think the team likes to trade it too, right? So if we get a nice move on it, I think we'll play it together. And because again, it's at all-time highs. So try to be careful with all-time highs. Really want to be playing around all-time highs. I know I don't really like to play around all-time highs, but but anyhow, over six. What is that? Over 600. Damn, I remember when we went to 500. Over 600. The first target would be 605, 28, then 611, 56. If we were to lose, 594.37. My first target would be 590.71, and then 582.59. So just again, I like Goldman Sachs. I like this setup on it. I think it goes higher. But yeah, see what the weekly looks like. Yeah. So, and here go another situation like you got a bearish engulfing candle, but it's all about the setup. It's about the setup. That's just one candle. Still can, like I said, if it breaks down, then we got some things to play to the downside. This is also what's interesting, man. So Alta went up. Alta had this big move for earnings, right? It opened down here. What up? You can't really see it because it's a real doji at the bottom. So I'm just going to widen it out a little bit. It opened very close to where it closed. It opened at 428.25 and it closed at 428.17, right? So, but this was a crazy gap up from earnings, right? So this is where it closed the day before earnings. It closed at 392 and it opened at 428. So a nice substantial move for Ulta Beauty. Came down here and bounced off support, what was previous resistance, turned support. And even though it closed right here, it finished down there. So who knows what this stock going to do? But again, this range is a hot range on this. This would technically still be like almost, I guess, kind of like an inverse hammer still, but it pretty much closed where it opened. But to have a stock run up this high, this is why I want to put things in perspective. This stock opened down at 428 and ran all the way up to 447. And the bears dragged it all the way back down here. So, just something to keep in mind, but it's still holding support. It didn't, it held the resistance as the new support, but that doesn't mean that it won't, that it doesn't go down or whatever, but we'll see exactly how it plays out. I don't honestly, the setup on this right now, I really don't, I don't like the setup for just as a regular small day trade. I don't like the setup on it, like, because again, we have to find something on the lower time frame, but I like the setup as a longer trade though. I like the setup on it's a longer trade. If you looking at the stock, I mean, they had a cool earnings, and like I said, the stock it gapped up and is holding over this support area now. So let's see if it holds it. If it holds it, then it could possibly retest that high from Friday, and that would be a nice move. You can play it that way, but you would look for a setup on a lower time frame. But this is a lot of bearish flow that came in here, and it's a big possibility that could close that. It can fill this gap. I mean, come back down and fill this gap. So we'll be watching for it because I feel like it'd be a bigger move. If it was to lose 424.82, then we got a nice move down back to fill this gap here, which would be down here to what is that? 402. So pretty big move down that this can actually make. But I just wanted to just pull this chart up just to before I hit meta. Let me hit QQQ first. QQQ first. Man, the charts like this bother me a lot because but I'm just going I'm following the price action. We're in a bull market, and I'm just following whatever the price tells me to do, regardless of how I feel about it. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna trade what the market gives us. That's what we're gonna do around here. So let's see what QQQ does here. We just breaks out and goes. Now we have Tesla, Meta, because Meta got a nice setup on it too. Tesla, Meta, and all of them really break out and go. Alphabet, Google has a really nice setup on it. I didn't even have Google listed, but I gotta hit Google. I gotta hit it. But yeah, this is some QQQ, man. I have no levels for this. I'm just be honest. I have no additional levels because we're in, price discovery again. Once again, price discovery because we're at all-time highs. But over 526.72, then I'm looking for that. I'm looking for that 530. But the thing is, there would be levels before 530, but that's where I would be looking for. If we take out 526.72, my target is going to be 530. My target is 530. On the flip side, if we were to lose that I'm sorry, I said if we take out 526.72. But if we were to lose 522.35, then I'm looking for a move back down, and that would be a nice move down. I feel like we come back down and we could. And depends. It all depends. It all depends because if it gives all of that back and comes down here, then I think we're coming down to this gap fill area. I think we're gonna fill that gap. It's gonna be a nice move back down. That'd be a nice healthy move down. And they even bring us back down to the 90, near the 90 MA also. So that would be to 516.87. That's what I would be looking for. Because it's all about the trend. It's all about the trend at the end of the day. And that's what I would be looking for if that happened on QQQ, if they gave us all of that back. So let's keep that on watch. Other platforms. Now it's another stock we trading at all-time highs, man. You know how I feel about all-time highs. But we've been talking about this. We've been looking for this meta move for a while, man. This isn't the chart that I normally have up. I think I have it on another screen. Bring that one up because I already have this chart marked up. Well, it doesn't matter because this is my clean chart. Y'all know my charts. I work in chaos, so a lot of these charts, I said I'm gonna keep one of them clean. This is my clean chart, so I'm trying not to put the levels on a whole lot of drawings when I have one chart that I can have a clean stock on, right? It's all good. It's all good. But but Meta, we're at all-time highs. We're at all-time highs. It's a nice breakout on this. If you look, I'm gonna show y'all because we're gonna talk about it anyway. Got this breakout. I told y'all a few weeks ago to save yourself some money for when Meta broke 600, that it was out of here, right? And we already had this clean setup on Meta. We had a really nice setup on it, and we had a broadening formation. We've been talking about this broadening formation on Meta for several weeks now. We've been talking about this broadening formation for several weeks. And like I said, so when it clears 600, it's going to go. So we still got some room left for Meta to make a huge move. It's not done personally. Now there are obviously some moves, some volatility that happens where it doesn't go straight to where you're trying to go, stuff like that. But I like this bullish finish. I really like the way the stock looks here. Looks great. I would say over 630, and we got 635 and then 640. Now on the put side, if we were to lose 608.53, then I'm looking for a retest of that of the 598.55, because that lines up. That's a breakout area and it lines up with the 90 MA too. So I think we lose that, we come all the way back down here. Now Meta ran a lot on Friday, so that gives us some room to play with. So like I said, we would use the smaller time frames. Damn, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful breakout. Now just look at the trend though. Just look at the trend. This is a weekly chart. It's easy to see it on the weekly, and I'm gonna show you the monthly too. But just look at it. Look at that channel. It's a nice price channel here. So, and if you just look at what Meta's been doing, like we've been getting, it's been a little bull flag after bull flag. And this is a weekly chart. You see that breakout. So, yeah, let me see something really quickly. Monthly. It's nice. This stuff is scary, man. It's scary when you see stocks or the whole market just keep running up like this. But you get those situations with certain stocks, man, where they break out. It's a technical breakout. This is a technical pattern on this that we're playing. We playing a technical breakout, and that's why it was such an important trade. We've had these happen many times before, so it's not like it needs to be earnings or something for a big move like this to happen. I'm gonna show you another example. I love trading bull flags anyway. It's one of my favorite setups. Here's another one. Beautiful bull flag breakout right here. We broke out. And what was this right here at 515? This took us all the way up to 580, so and typically whatever the size of the previous flagpole, that's where what we get out of the next one. I mean, it's making a pretty big move, but it's not a straight up move all the time. So you gotta see what happens. But we're in a bull market. Marks, I told y'all last week. Well, actually, I didn't tell y'all. Well, I did. Last week we talked about a lot when Trump was elected, all big tech started running and broke out. And the only one that wasn't running really like that was Meta. But that's because Mark Zuckerberg and Trump didn't get along, because conveniently right after Biden got elected, Trump got banned from, Facebook. I ain't gonna say it was conveniently, because it was because of that insurrection stuff, so and so he got banned from Twitter and all of Meta platforms, right? So they reinstated it like 6 months ago, right? He wouldn't go in there. He just uses True Social, but he's back on Twitter because him and Elon is cool. They cool. Elon playing a part in the administration. So, but yeah, so Tesla was running, everything else was moving, but Meta wasn't. So this past weekend, Meta went down to Mar-a-Lago and had brunch with Trump, and he said he wants to play a part in the administration and support it any way he can. So there we go. That's what we needed, because it was just like it was a gray area there, and so they fixed that part instead. And then so we start getting a bigger move on the stock now. So now we got a case for its bullishness and continuation, as opposed to Trump trying to now have show support for TikTok or something like that to kind of go against Meta. So yeah, it's just wanted to give y'all a little follow up on that. So but Meta looks great. Meta looks great, and but yeah, we'll see how things goes next week. Again, I'm excited to see how the Asian futures market opens tonight to kind of get an idea of how tomorrow may look. But so far so good. And again, everybody to just keep up the good work, man. I think we've been doing a good job. But the more questions, the more stuff we'll be able to get done during the week. So if and if you read something or you
Are you not doing Google? I'm sorry.
yeah, no, I'm just talking to the team. No, I'm just saying.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
So if you see anything, you got any questions or whatever, just make sure that y'all say something like in real time, like in the chat, like, because may not see it right then and there, but it'll get seen, or you'll be able to get some help about it, and we can help us. The more help you get, the more money you can make, and yeah. So I just want y'all to do that, because again, I covered some really good charts this week, and I ain't gonna be able to trade all of them myself, and I ain't gonna be able to trade them all myself. But and me, I'll be pretty much sticking to the same trades. If why go somewhere else if I don't need to? But one trade at a time. But yeah, Google looks great. Google looks great. Let me go back to my. Yeah, so Google looks all right. Google looks good, man. We had a nice bounce here on Google. It was a 222 reversal. We got a pretty big close after a bounce off the 9 EMA. And so I'm looking for a solid move on this one. I say that if we can get a move, if we can get back over what is that? 175.08, I would be looking for, the first target would be 175.98. And then my second target on this would be 178.88. Let me just mark this area. Mark in this area. It's like it'll complete this gap fill here. It's the first target, and then my second target. So Yeah. So I just would just try to Google is a slow moving stock. You know, it moves pretty slow. So that's why I don't trade it that often. You know, that's if I do trade Google for the most part, you know, that you give more time on it because they get, you know, because again, a slower moving stock when it, you know, when IV starts to slow down and the theta decay starts to ramp up, the stock moving slower, it's going to take longer for it to recover, right? So and so the theta is going to be higher pretty much on those stocks. So that's why you got to just kind of get more time on them or just trade them when they're in play and when they're breaking out. There's a few things I see on this though. But yeah, on the put side, if it was to lose 171.86, then we would likely go back down and retest 169.98. And then we got 169.09 right there. But yeah, I mean Google, it looks pretty good here. It looks pretty good here. And again, it's been one of the sleepers because Google, you know, now that everything is AI. AI is the buzzwords is going over. Everything is AI, and so Google search isn't as dominant as it was before because people just, you know, going and asking AI stuff, you know, and most of these applications got their own AI in it now, but it's still and so when you think about platforms like Twitter, you know, what they got Grok now, and then you know Meta got Meta AI. So that Llama 3 technology is pulling information from its own platform, but it's also pulling it from Google. So search is still utilized. But as far as monetizing search, it makes it harder because if you're not going directly to Google, then the ads that you would see on Google, they can't monetize that as much if people are going through other applications to actually do the search, even though it's pulling from Google. So yeah. So they're trying to figure out other ways to do that. And but that's what's what the issue is. But yeah, Google, the setup looks good on Google, and I just wanted to make sure I covered it because there are people who play Google, and it's a safer play, it's cheaper, and yeah, just keep it on watch. Pretty good, and big tech is on the move now. So, but yeah, that's all I have now. I know we went over, and this is the first time we went over by this much in a while. So, but yeah, but it's all good though. It's all good, and we got a big week coming up. So let's see how things play out. Again, like I said, man, just make sure y'all ask some questions in the chat, man. And let's have a very successful week. Let's have a very successful week. Cheers. Thanks y'all for joining.
Appreciate
Thank
you, bro.
you.
No
No,
problem.
thank you.
Thank you.